Welcome to Hardly, where books turn into 3 stories, refreshing your knowledge in minutes. Today, we listen to Hardly the book, The Corporate Life Cycle, Business, Investment, and Management Implications by Aswath Damodaran, in which we probe into the evolution of corporate growth phases and their impact on business strategy, investment decision-making, and financial management across various stages of a company's life cycle. Known as the Dean of Valuation, Aswath Damodaran is a professor of finance at the Stern School of Business at New York University, where he teaches corporate finance and equity valuation. Don't go away. Hardly the editor will be right back with the story. Today, I'll take you through 3 distinct stories that capture the essence of a company's life cycle. The trials of a startup founder trying to find a sustainable business model, a company at its peak navigating the challenges of scaling while maintaining profitability, and a once dominant firm grappling with its decline and attempting a bold resurgence. Each story illustrates a different stage of the corporate life cycle and the unique challenges and strategies involved. Story 1. The Birth of an Idea. Finding a business model. Our first story is about a startup founder named Sarah who believed she had struck gold with her idea for a new app that would revolutionize personal finance. The app promised to help users track their spending in real time and provide insights into their financial habits. Sarah was full of confidence and ambition, qualities that are often necessary but not always sufficient for success. She spent the first few months pouring her savings into developing the app, hiring a small team of developers, and launching a beta version to a handful of users. The initial feedback was mixed. Users loved the concept, but found the execution lacking. It was at this moment that Sarah realized she faced her first major challenge, converting her idea into a sustainable business model. She needed to figure out not just how to attract users, but also how to keep them and, more importantly, how to monetize the app. As the book aptly puts it, converting an idea into a product is only the first step. The real challenge is in crafting a business model that delivers profits and scales effectively. Determined not to fail, Sarah experimented with different revenue models, subscription fees, ad-supported content, premium features, but none seemed to provide the traction she needed. Just as she was about to exhaust her funds, Sarah had an epiphany. Instead of trying to monetize directly from users, she pivoted her strategy to partnering with banks and financial institutions. By offering them anonymized data on user spending habits, she found a way to provide value without charging her users directly. This pivot not only saved her startup, but also set it on a path to profitability. Just as Sarah began to find her footing, a new challenge loomed on the horizon. She now had to scale her business quickly to capitalize on her newfound success. This leads us to our next story, the complexities of managing growth. Story 2. Scaling New Heights, Managing Growth and Expectations. Our next story is about Tech Titan, a rapidly growing tech company that had successfully transitioned from a promising startup to a market leader in cloud computing. By this point, Tech Titan had mastered its business model and was reaping the rewards of its hard work, enjoying significant year-over-year growth. However, with success came new pressures from investors, competitors, and even from within the company. As the book notes, the most successful companies are those that can scale their operations effectively while maintaining their core business strengths. Tech Titan faced a classic dilemma: how to maintain its high growth rate without compromising profitability. The company's CEO, Jason, was known for his bold decisions, and he decided to double down on growth. He launched a series of aggressive expansions into new markets, including Asia and Europe, and invested heavily in new product lines. Initially, this strategy seemed to pay off as revenue continued to soar. But then cracks began to appear. The company's operational costs skyrocketed due to the rapid expansion, and its profit margins began to shrink. Internally, the company's culture started to fray under the strain of constant growth, with high turnover rates and declining employee morale. Jason realized that if he didn't change course, Tech Titan risked becoming a victim of its own success. He decided to pull back on some of the more aggressive expansion plans and refocus on strengthening the company's core operations. He streamlined product offerings, reduced costs, and invested in employee development to rebuild the company culture. This more measured approach helped Tech Titan stabilize and continue growing, albeit at a slower, more sustainable pace. However, Tech Titan's story is not just one of triumph. It also serves as a cautionary tale. For while the company was able to correct its course, another well-known company, Old Guard Industries, was not so fortunate. And this brings us to our final story. Story 3: Fighting Irrelevance. The struggle to reinvent Old Guard Industries was once a dominant player in the manufacturing sector, known for its robust product lines and formidable market presence. But as the industry evolved and new competitors emerged, Old Guard found itself on a downward trajectory. Revenues were declining and profit margins were under pressure. The company's management, resistant to change, continued to operate as if nothing had changed, clinging to outdated business models and strategies. As one stark passage from the book reveals, the greatest mistake a company can make is to fail to act its age. In business, just as in life, denial can be fatal. Desperate to turn things around, Old Guard's board brought in a new CEO, Angela, with a mandate to revitalize the company. Angela quickly realized that Old Guard's problems ran deeper than just poor market performance. The company was bloated, inefficient, and stuck in its ways. She decided to take a radical approach, a complete overhaul of the company's structure and strategy. Angela shut down unprofitable divisions, laid off a significant portion of the workforce, and redirected resources toward innovation and new technologies. Her bold moves were initially met with skepticism and resistance from both within the company and the market. Stock prices tumbled, and analysts were quick to write off Old Guard as a dying brand. But Angela remained undeterred. Slowly, her strategy began to bear fruit. The company launched a new line of products that catered to a younger, tech-savvy demographic and embraced digital transformation in its operations. Revenues stabilized and profit margins began to improve. While Old Guard was far from its former glory, it had at least found a path to survive in the new market landscape. As Old Guard navigated its new reality, its journey provided valuable lessons for companies at every stage of the life cycle. Companies, no matter how dominant, must adapt to the changing landscape or risk becoming obsolete. And so the story of Old Guard serves as a bridge to our final discussion, the broader implications of these life cycle stages. Conclusion. These stories of Sarah's startup, Tech Titan's scaling, and Old Guard's reinvention are more than just tales of corporate struggles. They are reflections of the fundamental dynamics that govern business success and failure. Each phase of the corporate life cycle presents its unique challenges, and how companies respond to these challenges determines their fate. The transition from one stage to the next is never straightforward and often requires bold decisions, strategic pivots, and sometimes a complete reinvention. Understanding these phases helps businesses anticipate the challenges they might face and equips them with strategies to navigate through them. The lessons from these stories are clear. Innovate early, manage growth wisely, and never stop adapting to the ever-changing market conditions. As the editor of Hardly, by learning these lessons, we can better prepare for the future by anticipating the changes ahead, embracing flexibility, and fostering innovation in our approach to business strategy. Reflecting on the corporate life cycle, it is clear that each stage, birth, growth, maturity, and decline, presents unique challenges that require different strategies, decisions, and management styles. These stages shape a company's approach to business strategy, investment decision-making, and financial management. From Sarah's startup journey to tech titans' scaling dilemmas and old guard's battle with irrelevance, we see how companies must adapt and evolve to survive and thrive. One final story that underscores these lessons comes from Greenleaf Industries, a company that pioneered sustainable packaging solutions. Greenleaf, initially a niche player, found its market rapidly expanding as consumer preferences shifted towards eco-friendly products. However, as demand grew, Greenleaf faced intense competition from bigger players who quickly replicated their products. Realizing that they could not compete on price alone, Greenleaf's leadership made a strategic decision to double down on innovation. They invested heavily in R&D to develop advanced materials that were both sustainable and cost-effective. This focus on continuous innovation allowed Greenleaf to maintain its competitive edge and grow into a market leader. This story illustrates the importance of agility and innovation at every stage of a company's life cycle. Companies must continuously assess their environment, embrace change, and be willing to pivot their strategies to stay relevant. As the editor of Hardly, by understanding the dynamics of the corporate life cycle, we can better anticipate challenges and opportunities, ensuring that our strategies are as resilient and adaptable as the companies we learn from.